Hello, my name's Bernd Meyer. I'm a teacher of geography. I'm going to briefly outline what's going to be involved in the course for 2015 and beyond. Before I outline what's involved in actual courses, I wanted to talk to you about some what we call transfer goals, lifelong learning that students are able to do independently once they have learned geography in our classrooms. We want them to understand their place in the space and the surroundings and how they're connected to the past, present and future. We want them to use geographical information to make informed decisions now and in the future. Hopefully they'll be able to act as informed and responsible citizens who can contribute to the development of a sustainable and just world. And lastly, being able to make choices based on more ethical and sustainable values. Now let's have a look at the Grade 9 course. The first element of that course is to do with biomes and food security. In particular, these are sorts of the questions that they might ask while studying the course. What are biomes? How is the environment affected by the human impact? How can we feed the world? How have biomes been modified to increase food production? What are the impacts of feeding our world? How does producing food affect our biomes? And really the wider questions, are we devouring our future? Who goes hungry and why? And also by 2050 we will have a food shortage or indeed a food surplus. Now at the end of those questions there is an inquiry where they have to work independently to try and answer this question and also to try and come up with some solutions with a view of the world trying to live in the world sustainably. Another big part of this assessment is how can we be more sustainable in looking after our earth. Now the way that has been structured this year is that kids are able to use more creative means to explore that particular question. In 2014 children have been able to use a software called Minecraft, where they have been asked to create a world and demonstrate how they can do it sustainably in a more creative and hands-on way. Now let's have a look at the Grade 10 course. There's two main strands to it: environmental change and how to manage that, and talking about human well-being and what are the differences and how can we make the world a better place. In the first section, environmental change and management, these are sorts of questions that will be asked. How do people interact with the environment? Is climate change heating our earth? Obvious answer is yes, but what are the effects of that? In particular, land environments are under threat. In which ways? We look at inland water and how that resource is used. How are coastal environments impacted by climate and by man? How are we trashing our oceans? And what are the challenges for our fast-growing cities? So there's some of the questions that will be asked throughout the course. Students will be asked to inquire into this issue in more depth, and the board question they'll be asked, are we looking after our earth? And looking at the positive side, what can be done about it so we can maintain a more sustainable future? In the second part of that course, we're talking about geographies of well-being. We try and address some of these questions. What makes a good life? How do we measure well-being? Does wealth actually mean well-being? And to most of you, the obvious answer is no. How can we improve well-being? What's the link between population growth and well-being? Does gender affect well-being? Does poverty affect it? Is everybody equal? And how does conflict affect well-being? So there's some broader questions there that we ask the kids to look into, and then lastly they are required to come up with a in-depth inquiry looking at one of those facets of well-being. Once the student has chosen their particular aspect of well-being. They then look at what are the problems relating to it, and the other element to it is that what can we do about it? What are some of the possible solutions? It's going to be taught in a fairly open-ended, relevant way that hopefully the kids can and produce something from their own viewpoints and interest. If you have any more questions, you can contact any of these four people: Gail Harris, Nick Foster, myself, or John McLean, who is maybe with us back next year in the geography department.